Welcome to the International Luxury Hotel Association's webinar series, where top hotel owners, operators, developers, suppliers, and brands connect to shape the future of luxury hospitality. For over 15 years, the ILHA has been the most influential association in the industry, with global chapters and the largest hospitality network on LinkedIn, 500,000 members strong. Our flagship event, Inspire, is the leading luxury hospitality conference in Europe and the US, where decision-makers network, share insights, and get deals done. Visit us at ilha.org.
I want to thank everyone for joining us and would like to welcome you to the International Luxury Hotel Association's webinar on designing a luxury fitness and wellness space. Today's webinar is brought to you by Matrix Fitness. We have some really great speakers with us today, and I think as you know, there's this growing importance of the guest experience. And, you know, like I know when I travel to luxury properties, one of the things I look at before I ever book the hotel is what's the gym like? What's the wellness like? Because that's a very important part of my stay. So excited to bring a really great group of experts together to talk about it. So I thought we would first go around and have everyone introduce themselves and then kind of jump into our open conversation. So first we'll start with Rachel.
I'm Rachel Lenzner with Matrix Fitness. I am a strategic accounts in the hospitality and wellness sector, specializing in luxury.
So we'll start again. Chama?
My name is Shama Barrett. I am the co-founder of Amrit Ocean Resort. We are the next generation destination wellness resort. We combine ancient and modern sciences to help people live healthier, happier, and longer.
Akram?
Hi, my name is Akram Al-Kawasmi. I'm the executive director for wellness and spa at Amrit Ocean Resort. My focus is enhancing the guest experience, ensuring they get the latest and the greatest in a luxury setting.
Phil?
Phil Cole, Vice President of Design and Development for Exos. Exos is a coaching company that supports a variety of different clients in health and fitness solutions, ranging from 30% of the Fortune 100 clients all the way through to professional athletes.
Very cool. So I'll kick out the first question over to Rachel, which is, who is the luxury fitness consumer and what are their expectations when it comes to fitness and wellness experiences?
I think through luxury, there are a ton of answers for that. I don't know if the wellness expectation at an Emirates is exactly the same as it would be at a different resort. So I think as a fitness and wellness professional and provider, we really need to focus on the guest expectations at each and every individual property, and design and focus based on that.
I think today's fitness consumer is really deeply intentional. I feel like they are not just looking for a workout anymore. They're looking for a transformation. Today, I think people are really prioritizing their longevity. They're prioritizing balance through recovery. And it's almost a sense of purpose. Like I know personally on a day that I don't work out or a day that my husband doesn't work out, our entire day is turned upside down. You know, it focuses you, it transforms you. And so at Amrit, what we've really done is, to Rachel's point, at each location it's different. At Amrit, we notice that people expect personalization. They want science-backed therapies, and they want an environment that nurtures both the body and the mind.
If I may add to that as well, Shama, also currently the expectation are not just a simple gym with certain machines and massage rooms. They're looking for a well-rounded journey that supports them under all the pillars of wellness. If you are a workout person, you need nutrition to support you. You need classes to support you. Whatever goal you're trying to achieve, you need therapies such as heat contrast therapies to boost the recovery aspect to help you achieve your goals, not just a workout anymore, a workout space.
If I could add, just from an equipment side of things, I think the luxury guest is also looking for like a really reputable brand of equipment. You know, they're likely, you know, high net worth earners that have extremely high standards. So obviously coming into a facility that has lower tiered equipment is likely not going to be something that resonates well with them. So you know, the higher standard and brands, the better.
Yeah, I think those are all great comments, because I think personalized journey, Shama, is absolutely correct. And also it's not, we've all got our own thing that we're trying to do, right? You know, so how do you meet everyone where they're at and where they're at in the journey and what they're looking for? And then Phil, on your side, you know, when I travel, you know, if I go to Abu Dhabi, for example, I always think of this as an example as the Grand Hyatt, which is, you know, 5-star hotel there. They have a gym, and it's the whole top side of a floor looking out at the sea, high up. And you go in there and you're like, this is just an amazing place to work out. And whoever owns this hotel really understands the wellness and the fitness, and that their guests are going to have a great experience there. And then when I was in Abu Dhabi last time, I decided to stay at the Conrad, which is also 5 stories, which is literally right, you know, next door. And then I go, they have a nicer beach, but I go to the gym, and it's across from the lobby, like kind of above a parking garage, you know, and you know, it's very small. It's, you know, the equipment was older. It was just a totally different experience. And some, you know, I was in Doha last at, I think it was with the Four Seasons, and the gym is in the basement. You know, looking at walls out the window with not a lot of equipment. And when I go in and I see beautiful equipment, amazing equipment, the equipment I'm looking for, you get excited, and you get excited to work out. I think it has a huge difference because, you know, for example, is I would probably try going back to the Grand Hyatt in Abu Dhabi or a different hotel looking for that equipment. And the same thing goes for spa and wellness. If you have a great experience at, you know, a facility, you know, a hotel that has all these different options for you, that's where you're going to be a repeat customer.
I also think that not that it's been a complete shift, but there has been a lot more knowledge and impact in the wellness space, where you might find at an older property that wasn't the wellness tourism and the wellness travel isn't what it is today. So, you know, not to say that they won't be brought up to standards or brought up to meet that guest expectation that you're looking for when you go there. You want that experience. But it has been a huge shift in properties trying to make that happen within the footprint that they have.
So for the next question, I'll throw it over to Shama, is how can fitness and wellness spaces be seamlessly integrated into the overall luxury hospitality experience?
Wow, fitness and wellness spaces, I think integration is key, right? At Amrit, wellness is really, it's not an amenity for us. It's truly our identity. So everything we offer at Amrit is inspired by our 5 pillars of wellness. A little bit of what Akram was talking about earlier, we think of fitness and wellness as mindfulness, nutrition, relaxation, sleep. So these are the guiding principles that we use to develop every aspect of the resort, not just within our wellness and spa facility, but also throughout our restaurants, our guest rooms, our amenities, and all of our curated programming. Even if you actually think about our meetings and event spaces, our pillars inspire all of that. And I often like to say that Amrit truly has a sixth and unsaid pillar, which we call satsang. Satsang is actually a Sanskrit word. Surrounding yourself with like-minded people to help you elevate your good habits and reduce your bad ones. I think in other words, it's a sense of community. And I think the community that you surround yourself with is so integral to how fitness and wellness spaces integrate into the overall luxury hospitality experience. Because like Rachel was just saying, what people expect today and what they look for, what's available to them is truly transformed over the last few years. And so now when that consumer is going to a place like Amrit, there's like-minded people around that are truly inspiring that and is a big part of the integration.
And if I may add also to what Shama said, I believe we are also setting a different level of guest expectations because we are weaving all the integrative wellness activities into the booking journey for the guests. So when they book a room to stay with us, we get them exposed to certain activities such as it's this time of the month, it's a full moon. We have full moon beach yoga. We have fun dancing classes, a floating sound bath. Every day we have at least 4 to 5 activities that guests can weave it into their own schedule. And they have been enjoying it. The feedback we're getting from that, it's amazing. It's a transformative experience. Local guests even who just plan to come for a regular spa treatment, they end up participating in Harmony Hours where they connect with like-minded people and join the classes. So we're changing the rituals. It's not just a treatment in and out. It's an experience where you spend the whole day with us.
And I think that's what the wellness traveler is looking for now. They want those unique touches and those unique experiences and the integration with an entire wellness platform. I think that's part of not just the expectation, but the part of the draw, right? A part of their vacation expectation at this point, having that wellness platform that can follow them through the entire property and their entire stay.
Definitely. And I think when you step into a property that really gets it and does it, for me at least, I feel like a sense of peace comes over me the moment you even walk into the hotel. And then there's excitement that you're in this special property. Where when you go to other properties, you know, that don't do that, you know you're just in another hotel.
It makes you want to participate and
Yes.
enjoy
Like
all of
that-
the activities.
I was saying that I love that you mentioned peace and excitement because so much of what we do at Amrit is inspired by the oceanfront location that's on, right? And I think the idea of the ocean is that it has exactly that, right? It can be energizing, it can be refreshing, it can be calming, it can be meditative, it can be chaotic. And it's almost, you know, it's symbolic to all the experiences that we have as people. And so taking that and integrating this back in the experience really speaks to the same idea.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and it is true because I mean, being at a conference over at the Emirates, where normally you would have moments of stress or thinking up business, instead there was moments of in conversations just looking out at the ocean, you know, and just saying this is just amazing. This is like the best place to be, you know, to be doing business or to be at a conference or, you know, even staying as a guest. It just automatically it just changes everything. So yeah. So throwing out the next question over to Phil, what are the key design principles for creating a fitness space that is both visually stunning and functionally optimized?
I think, Jonathan, you kind of started where I was going to go initially with just the location of the facility. I think that's, you know, when you look at, you know, some of the like you said, the more wellness focused spaces, they've got kind of the best real estate in the building, right? So it might be a penthouse floor or something that has that ocean view, as opposed to a dark basement with no natural light or anything like that. So location for sure is key to that success. And then I think when you walk into the facility, that experience is something that's key. And when, you know, Exos Design's facilities, we really look at that user experience when you walk in. Ideally, I think you've got to have some sort of fitness concierge that's there, from a high hospitality focus, welcoming that person into the facility, learning about them, just building that rapport. I love, Shama, you mentioned kind of your 5 pillars. At Exos, we've got 4 pillars. So it's similar: mindset, nutrition, movement, recovery. And I think being able to weave those 4 pillars into a space and have that holistic, experience is going to be vital for a really good, guest experience. And then when we look at the actual layout of the facility, as far as selecting the right pieces of equipment to go in the right spots, we really look at what that user progression needs to be. So, the last thing you, as a guest, you want to walk into a facility, if you're a first-time user or you're used to working out in a very quiet space, is walking in where someone's doing a 300-pound Olympic lift and dropping that weight on the floor, because that's going to be such a deterrent for someone, that's looking to come in and do a stretch or recovery session. So really being thoughtful around where certain areas of the facility gets located, so it is a better experience when you walk in. And I think that luxury guest is likely used to having more of exclusive kind of intimate spaces as well when they work out in facilities. So it might not be all out and open. We might have some privacy paneling throughout the space just to create little sections so people do really feel like they're almost in a personal training type studio, but it's not just for them, it's for other guests to enjoy as well.
No, I think it's a great point, Phil. I think part of it too is when we're traveling, it's for an experience, right? And so when we're stepping into those fitness or those wellness spaces, we want it to be a special experience. We don't want it to be like where, if I'm back home, it could be, the gym, or the local spa that I'm going to. That's the magical piece, I think, of this.
And I love that you said that, sometimes it can be intimidating to see one thing if you're kind of on a different spectrum of your fitness journey. And I think the people that are there absolutely make a big difference in helping someone be comfortable. From a design perspective, for us, I think it was really a matter of both elevating the emotional aspect of it as well as the utility side of it. So we worked with Bilky Linas Design, who is this amazing interior design firm based out of Hong Kong, to bring in that East meets West aesthetic on this, beautiful Florida coastal location, while also working with Espa, who has deep experiences in the luxury spa space, to create really throughout an aesthetic that inspires serenity and energy simultaneously. As we spoke a little bit before, for us, it was also really important to bring the nature in, right? Marrying the ocean, both the calming and the energizing aspects of it, with the salty, breezy air, to focus on recovery and breath work, the grounding aspects of the sandy beaches. All of this was a matter of bringing the outside in, so you move seamlessly between that. It wasn't just spaces that look beautiful, but also spaces that help really flow in such a manner that it supports the rhythm. Important for us was flexibility. So when I say flexibility, I mean having studios that could be multifunctional. If we have a yoga terrace, can we also do other classes out there? We've actually done this really exciting thing where we've taken one of our restaurant terraces and we have created an oceanfront spin and brunch. It has been one of the most exciting experiences that our guests have had. And then, like Akram was saying, taking our pools and creating sound baths, floating sound baths. So constantly transforming each of the spaces and thinking creatively outside the box to, I guess, allow for more within less.
Very nice. So for Rachel, how can technology and personalization elevate the fitness experience for luxury guests?
I think the expectation on speaking from my aspect of fitness equipment, There can be a lot that is done within the technology interfaces provided on screen, whether it be digital content, which some people love and strive for, or the comfort of something as simple as solitaire, something that helps them promote movement, get people excited about the workout ahead, but also different touch points on a console that are outside of the box. A lot of consoles are starting to integrate spa menus. How do we bring people from the fitness center into the spa? Maybe your equipment provides a prompt that says, after your workout, are you looking for a recovery session? How can we expand that workout on something as standard as a treadmill or an elliptical that people are comfortable using? They walk up to it, they know what to do with it. It's something that, they've probably used a million times before. How can we use that piece of equipment and the technology on that equipment to expand their wellness? How do we help promote and continue their wellness journey throughout the property using the technology on our consoles?
And if I could maybe just add on that, Rachel, I think one thing I always, I hear and caution clients around is like not overcomplicating the technology side of things as well, because there's nothing worse than someone getting onto a treadmill and just not knowing how to start it, right? It has to be very clear and easy to navigate through. And I think one thing that I really like, and I'm surprised another company hasn't done it before, Matrix did on the Onyx console, is the simple concierge button. Having a button on a screen that if someone gets on and whether they're, need help initially, even just getting up and started, or during their workout when they're like, hey, how do I do this? Or, hey, I've got a question to ask, having a bit to press a button that obviously notifies, a staff person in that facility to come over and assist is a key thing.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, it's such a simple piece of technology, but definitely helps elevate the services within a property.
Yeah. And that's happened to me, where I've gotten on a piece of equipment. It's like, oh, this looks modern and really cool. And then I get on it and I have no idea what I'm doing, but there's no one around to help. And then kind of like, you could be embarrassed to like, am I going to go find somebody and say, can you help me with this? Or do I just go try to find a piece of equipment that I know, but you want to experiment and do different stuff. And then I've also been at hotels where they have, I don't even know how to describe it, but I've seen some stuff advertised online where it's a piece of equipment, it's flat against the wall, but it's supposed to do all this stuff. And I'm like, it's the one, it was a small hotel. So it was like, this is really a couple pieces of equipment. And I was like, I have no idea how to make this work. And there's nobody, so I couldn't actually engage, but they clearly invested, but it's inaccessible to me. So I think some of the stuff, the concierge button, that stuff is just, it's just neat to see that people are forward thinking of how do we make it easy? How do we make it so if people are uncomfortable or embarrassed or anything, like they can ask for that help easily.
Agreed.
I think even outside of directly the equipment itself, like I know personally, I love my Apple Watch or I love my Oura Ring, and I really enjoy tools like that because it gives you data that you can then use to improve or inform your habits and your behaviors. It's personalized, right? So I think kind of working off of that and keeping in mind, I really love how Phil said, let's not overcomplicate it, because I'd say in a world where everything happens in the palm of your hands, right? High tech comes really easy, but high touch often gets lost. And I think this is where AMRIT really leans in on being truly that next generation destination-less lifestyle, because we really combine both sides of that, right? Not just the ancient and modern, enhanced by technology, but really taking this notion of this, we have our personalized wellness support system, and we utilize that to help guests set wellness goals before they arrive, or fitness goals that can be based in this kind of data. And so based on this information, they get personalized coaching throughout their stay, and they continue to get support on their journey even after they leave. So for 3, 6, 9 months. So it's almost like you have tech with soul, right? It listens, it adapts, it supports. And now you're not just lost in, oh my goodness, my Aura Ring told me I slept terribly. I must have slept terribly. Like, no, you can listen to yourself. And if you feel great, you feel great. And that's okay. Sometimes the technology isn't always indicative of the human experience.
Very well said. So, Akram, what role does recovery and holistic wellness play in luxury fitness spaces, and how can hotels incorporate these elements effectively?
That's excellent question. I believe we all agree that recovery is the new trend in fitness and wellness. There's multi-factors played role in that. Part of it is the technology. Now with the wearable devices, you can get a report every day about your oxygen level, your deep sleep, your heart rate variation. After a workout, you need to recover to go back and start fresh and build on what you have done. So here what we did, we created it as a journey. So we have 1,700 square feet of hydrothermal facilities. We call it the Ayush. It's designed towards different aspects of recovery. We have heat therapy, heat contrast therapy. You do a sauna, then a cold plunge. We have salt inhalation, hot jacuzzis, lap pools, all in one space, and you have guides guide you through this journey. And that's a traditional way of recovery. And we made it part of the rituals. So it's people celebrate it and enjoy it while weaving it into their daily routines. On the other aspect as well, the technology, we have hyperbaric chambers, red light therapy, PMF mats, a mortal lounger that includes hydrogen inhalation, dry flotation. All these complements the traditional recovery practices, and you can measure the results and the improvements immediately on your oxygenation level in your blood, in your sleep quality, your heart rate variability. So I think it's becoming a necessity, and we build it all under one umbrella where guests are adapting it part of their lifestyle.
I love that acronym. And I think obviously Exos does a lot of work, like I said, with 30% of the Fortune 100 clients in corporate health facilities. I think the one thing that we're seeing in that space is a lot of the items that you mentioned, the red light therapy, the saunas, the infrared, cold plunges are getting into corporate health and fitness. So it's almost now it's an expectation when these guests go to luxury spaces that they have to have those, because if their office gym has that, they certainly want to have that in a luxury spa, facility.
Definitely. And we're celebrating it as events. We're hosting on May 18th, 300 people to celebrate wellness on our beach. We're having cold plunges portable on the beach with fitness activations. So we're making it as rituals and celebrations. It's not something you have to do. It's something you get to do, and you see the results right afterwards.
Very cool. It's exciting to see where we've been and where we're heading on in the wellness space.
Yeah, I think one thing to add to that, Jonathan.
No, please, Phil.
I was gonna say one thing to add, I think, is just I think there's also a lot of like fads out there. So I think it's all, for this industry, it's always keeping up with the science-backed solutions, because there's there's a lot of even information out there on something like red light therapy that's in the news. It's super popular, but there's challenges with wavelength, distances from the body, and all of those things that are still all being looked at. And for the folks that are building out new spaces, there's nothing worse than spending a lot of budget on equipment that might not actually benefit the actual guest that's using it.
And it's great that you said that, Phil, because I think even today, the customers are quite discerning, right? Today, data and information is more accessible than it ever was. So it'll be very easy for someone to quickly say, well, oh, you have red light, but no, this is what the science shows. At least the caliber of the individuals that we see coming to Amrit are very, very educated. They're discerning, they're globally informed, and they seek experiences that are immersive, seamless, and like you said, backed in science. And so, for us, it's often being very forthright about it. As the science changes, as the science transforms, so will we. Right. But as of today, we've invested over 40,000 square feet of our space focused on longevity and recovery, combining sauna, cold plunge, hot pools, cold pools. We also have a full IV lounge that we've done in partnership with a medicine doctor. Mentioned a little bit about the Immortal Chamber. It's actually part of a greater program that's on peak living. And so this whole experience that we're doing with the Chopra Foundation. And so this whole experience is really recovery is the new frontier of fitness, right? It's not one or the other. Before you had athletes that would just go hard and almost skip the recovery day. Now it's about saying, okay, well, how do I balance this? True wellness doesn't end with what's on the outside. It evolves with what's happening inside.
That's great. And definitely, obviously, people are more discerning. There's much more demand for this. It's not like in the past where wellness was very simple and easy and you could do it or you don't do it. I feel like now we've got a much more discerning clientele that's actively seeking it out.
And it's nice that you said that, Jonathan, because I remember when we were originally creating Amrit and envisioning everything that went into it, I used to say that taking care of yourself is the ultimate luxury. But in the process of life, I've realized that it's actually taking care of yourself is the ultimate necessity.
Yeah, definitely. So with that, I'd like to close everything out, and I'd like to thank everyone for joining us, our speakers, the attendees for the International Luxury Hotel Association webinar series, and Matrix Fitness for making it possible. You'll be able to find the webinar on our website, ilha.org, under resources. And feel free to share it, and thank everyone for kind of sharing their insights and knowledge. I think this is a really important topic, and for me, I'm excited to see where it keeps going, because I feel like while everyone here on this, on this webinar, you're doing things in a very advanced way, I think we know like the future, it's only going to get better and better.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a
you.
wonderful day.
Thanks, guys.
Take care, everyone.